Leo wasn't supposed to be here. He was just a maintenance technician. He fixed damaged panels, calibrated sensors, and adjusted air filters. Nothing special. So when the order came from Central Command assigning him to Outpost Varun 7, he thought it was a mistake. But no. The order was real. And now, after 2 weeks of travel in a cold, rattling shuttle, Leo stood at the edge of a huge alien landing bay, his duffel bag slung over one shoulder, eyes wide. Everything here was big. The Therian, the native species of this outpost, were known to be gentle giants. But even that warning didn't prepare him. The first one he saw was tall enough to reach the second level of the hangar without even stretching. Their skin shimmered faintly like polished stone, and their hair flowed like soft threads of silver, or jet black. But they weren't frightening. Just huge. Leo tried to walk calmly across the floor, but his legs didn't get the message. His boots echoed in the vast space. The Therian guards by the hangar door turned slowly to look at him. They didn't speak, just nodded. "Permission to enter?" Leo said, raising his ID badge. One of the Therian blinked slowly and tapped a panel beside him. The door opened with a soft hiss. "Thank you," Leo muttered. His quarters were small compared to theirs, more like a human-sized crate placed inside a grand palace. But it was clean, and at least it had a bed. He spent his first 2 days exploring the station's lower corridors, checking wiring, verifying energy relays, and keeping his head down. The Therian didn't bother him. They didn't speak much either. They observed, nodded, and walked past. But on the third day, something changed. Leo was in the docking tunnel, tightening a loose connector beneath a fuel cell, when he felt someone behind him. At first, he thought it was one of his human teammates. But when he turned, he saw her. She was standing very still, hands gently folded in front of her, watching him. Her height took his breath away. Easily 13 feet, maybe a little more. Her skin was a soft, pale violet, not rough, not shining, just smooth and natural. Her face was calm, her expression unreadable. Her long hair, dark like space, fell over her shoulders in silky waves. And her eyes, they were curious, almost, like a child seeing something for the first time. Leo stood awkwardly, wiping his hands on his pants. Hello?" She didn't respond, just looked. He pointed at his badge. "I'm Leo, maintenance team." Still, no reply. Then she took a single step forward. Her feet made almost no sound, despite her size. She tilted her head slightly, as if trying to match her vision to his smaller frame. "Do you need help with something?" Leo asked, backing up a little, and then she bent down, not quickly, not suddenly, but with careful, smooth motion. She lowered herself on one knee until her face was just a few feet from his. Her giant hand reached out, but stopped in the air, waiting. Leo felt his heart race. He didn't know what she wanted, but he wasn't scared. Somehow, in her gaze, he didn't see danger, he saw wonder, like he was something precious. She moved her hand again, slowly, and touched his shoulder, barely grazing his uniform. Then, before he could say a word, she wrapped her arms around him. Leo froze. He was being hugged by a 13-foot alien girl. Her arms were massive but gentle. Her body was warm. It felt like being wrapped in a soft mountain, and she didn't let go. Leo tried to look up, confused. I don't really know what this is, but I need to breathe." Still, she held him, not tight, not crushing, just firm. Her head rested lightly over his. He could feel her heartbeat, slow and steady. Then she whispered something. He couldn't understand the words, but the translator on his wrist picked up the sound and began decoding. After a moment, the device displayed a short phrase in human language. "I finally found you." Leo blinked. "Found me? What are you talking about?" No response. Other Therian in the tunnel stopped and looked but didn't interrupt. Some nodded quietly. Others simply moved on. Leo stood there, arms slightly raised, awkward and confused. while this giant alien girl continued hugging him like he was a long-lost treasure. When she finally did speak again, her voice came through, the translator as soft, slow, and clear. "You are the one I was waiting for." Leo managed to pull back a little, just enough to look at her eyes. "Did you mistake me for someone else?" he asked, half joking. She shook her head. "I waited many cycles, watched every visitor. None of them were right. But you are." Leo didn't know what to say. This was too weird, too much. But strangely, he didn't feel scared. He felt safe, like he mattered. "Okay," he said slowly, trying to stay calm. "Can we at least exchange names?" She nodded and placed a large hand over her chest. "Jura." "Jura," Leo repeated. "Nice to meet you, I think." He gave her a nervous smile. She smiled back. And suddenly, for the first time, he saw it. A softness in her expression. A quiet happiness. Jura stood up again, her full height returning like a tower rising. Then she turned to walk away. Leo watched her go, still trying to figure out what just happened. But just as she reached the end of the tunnel, she turned around again and said one last thing through the translator. "Don't leave this place, or they'll take you away from me." Leo's smile faded. He didn't know who they were, but something told him this was just the beginning. Leo tried to sleep that night, but his mind wouldn't let him. He turned from side to side on the narrow bed, replaying the strange moment in the tunnel again and again. Jura's hug wasn't normal. It wasn't just kindness or curiosity. There was something deep in the way she looked at him, something he couldn't explain, and then there was the warning. "Don't leave this place, Undir, or they'll take you away from me." He didn't know who they were. He didn't even know who she really was. All he knew was that ever since she hugged him, every Therian on the station had started watching him more closely. But not with fear, with respect. The next morning, Leo reported to the engineering sector. He expected another day of crawling, through dark panels and recalibrating coolant pipes. But as he stepped into the control room, he stopped. Jura was there, standing tall beside the central pillar. Her head brushed the upper support beams, and her long black hair swayed softly. She turned when she saw him. "Hi," Leo said. She didn't speak at first. Then she knelt, bringing herself closer to his height again. "You are well?" Leo blinked. "You're using the translator now?" "Yes," she replied simply. There was silence between them for a moment. "I'm fine," Leo said. "Just still confused. Why me? Why that hug? And what did you mean by 'they'll take me away'?" Jura looked down. "It is difficult to explain. My people have stories. Old ones. Some believe them, some don't. I did." Leo crossed his arms. "Stories?" She nodded slowly. "Long ago, a visitor came to our world. He was not like us. Small, soft, but strong in spirit. He helped unite two warring tribes. He carried a light that wasn't fire, and he spoke a language none knew, yet all understood." Leo frowned. "That sounds more like a legend than real history." "Perhaps," Jura admitted, "but the elder seers said his spirit would return, reborn in another form from another place. He would appear during a time of silence and unrest, carrying the same light." She leaned in, voice quiet. "I watched many humans come and go. None felt right until you." Leo tried to laugh it off. "I fix pipes and reroute power. That's not exactly the stuff of destiny." Jura stared at him. "Yet when I saw you, my spirit felt still, like a puzzle piece falling into place." He couldn't reply. He didn't know how. Jura continued. "If you leave, others may sense your presence. Not all are friendly. Some hunt what they fear." Leo sat on the edge of a bench. "Who are they?" She didn't speak at first. Then finally, "The Nothari." The name sent a chill down Leo's back, even though he didn't recognize it. "They are shadows," she explained. "Hunters of rare life. They hate balance. They hate peace. They sense when the old stories awaken. And they destroy them." Leo looked up. And you think they'll come for me? Jura didn't answer. She just reached out and gently touched his shoulder. The rest of the day was strange. Jura followed Leo silently, everywhere. When he climbed into the narrow ducts to inspect power lines, she stood below, waiting. When he crossed the bridgeway between towers, she walked beside him, her massive steps perfectly matching his smaller ones. When he ate, she sat nearby, simply watching. Leo's co-workers noticed, of course. His supervisor, a short older man named Grant, raised an eyebrow when he saw Jura hovering again. She following you now? Grant asked. I think so, Leo said, chewing on a protein bar. She dangerous? No, Leo said honestly. She's just protective, I think. Well, Grant said, as long as she doesn't crush you, carry on. Leo chuckled. But part of him wondered, what would Jura do if someone did try to hurt him? Later that night, Leo walked out to the edge of the observation deck. The stars outside were scattered across the blackness like frozen fireflies. He leaned on the railing, letting the silence fill him. Then he heard it. Soft footsteps. Too heavy to be human. Jura stood a few feet away, her eyes fixed on the stars. You don't sleep much, do you? Leo asked. My rest comes in stillness, not dreams, she said. Leo turned to her. Jura, what do you really want from me? She didn't respond right away. Instead, she sat down on the floor, her legs crossed so her head was level with his again. I want you to be safe, she said. Why? Because if the old stories are true, and you are the one who brings the balance, then this galaxy needs you, Leo scoffed. I don't even understand your language without a wrist translator. How am I supposed to save anyone? She smiled, a soft, slow expression. The one from the story didn't know either. He just acted from the heart. Leo leaned back against the railing. Well, my heart's telling me this whole thing is way over my head. Jura tilted her head. Then let me carry some of the weight. He looked at her. You don't even know me, he said. She paused. I know kindness. I know calm. I know when something rare enters a place full of noise. You are that quiet, light. Leo didn't answer. The stars above seemed to shine brighter for a moment. Then a loud beep came from his wrist device. Message from Earth Command. Leo, prepare for transport. You are scheduled to return in 48 hours. He stared at it in silence. Jura stood. What is that? She asked. Leo turned to her slowly. They're calling me back. She took a step forward. No, you can't go. Leo laughed nervously. It's not my choice, Jura. I don't control orders. Her voice became firm. If you leave, the Nothari will follow. They sense change. They will come through the dark corners of space. You're not safe on Earth. Leo's hand dropped. But I don't belong here either. Jura leaned close again, voice soft but serious. You do now. That night, Leo sat in his room staring at his packed bag. He should be excited. Home was only 2 days away. Earth food, real sky, comfortable beds. But something didn't feel right. Something inside him said, if you leave, it's not just goodbye to her. It's goodbye to something bigger. He looked out the small window and saw her, Jura, sitting on the floor near his door. She wasn't guarding. She was waiting for him to understand. Leo woke up to the sound of heavy knocking. It wasn't aggressive, just steady, strong, and slow. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and checked the time on the small screen beside his bed. It was still early. The artificial lights outside the window were dim, simulating a kind of alien dawn. He opened the door and found Jura standing there holding a data pad in her hand, one clearly made for smaller human fingers. Good morning, she said, her voice low and careful. Leo blinked. You're using a human tablet. I borrowed it from your storage bay, she said. I wanted to understand your people better. Leo smiled. You could have just asked. Jura stepped back to give him space. You said your people listen to orders. Is that why you're leaving? Leo nodded. Orders come from Earth. I'm supposed to follow them. She looked down. Then we must change their mind. Leo gave a half laugh. I don't think a 13-foot alien writing an email to command will do the trick. Jura didn't smile. There's not much time. Before Leo could ask what she meant, his wrist device beeped again. Another message from Earth Command. This one was urgent. Security update. Long-range sensors detect foreign movement near your system. Stay prepared for emergency protocols. Report any unusual behavior immediately. Leo's heart skipped. He looked at Jura. Is this the Nothari? She nodded slowly. They are coming. The news spread across the outpost fast. Ships were being recalled. Defense shields were tested. Even the calm and peaceful Therian guards had begun walking in pairs, their large weapons powered up for the first time in years. Leo stood in the main control room, watching the station's radar screens. Strange signals blinked in and out. Small, silent ships moving in patterns that didn't match any known travel routes. They don't use light or sound, said a Therian elder standing nearby. They travel like whispers. Jura joined Leo again, standing behind him like a silent shadow. If they find you, she said, they won't stop until you're taken. Why me? Leo asked, his voice tight. Why am I important? She gently placed a hand on his back. Because you're not like the others. You didn't just arrive. You awakened something. Leo turned to her. You keep saying that. But what did I awaken? Jura led him out of the control room, past the wide halls and deep tunnels of the outpost to a hidden door Leo had never noticed before. It opened without a sound. Inside was an ancient chamber lit by soft blue light. Strange symbols glowed along the walls. In the center was a small platform, barely big enough for a human. This is the heart room, Jura whispered. It reacts to old energy. Leo looked around, confused. How do you know I can use it? She walked to the platform and tapped a panel. Because the moment you stepped on this planet, the lights turned on. That hasn't happened in over 300 years. Leo stepped forward, unsure. So what does it do? Jura placed her massive hand over her chest. It recognizes the spirit. It bonds with it. The one it chooses becomes a key. Leo stepped up onto the platform. At first nothing happened. Then a pulse. A low hum filled the air and the glowing lines along the walls began to shift. They moved like flowing water, forming shapes and spirals that danced toward him. The platform under his feet turned warm. Jura knelt nearby, eyes shining with awe. You see? You are the one. Leo looked down at his hands. I don't feel powerful. You don't need to feel it, she said softly. You just need to be it. Later that day, Leo met with his human commander via hologram. Sir, Leo said, standing straight, I believe I need to stay here. The commander frowned. That's not your call, technician. Your replacement is en route. Prepare for departure. Leo took a breath. Sir, we have a problem, a threat. I've been told the Nothari are tracking me. If I leave this station, I might lead them straight to Earth. The commander was silent for a long time. Then he sighed. Look, I don't know what nonsense these aliens told you, but we haven't confirmed any identity scans, no direct threat, no confirmed contact. Until then, you're just a maintenance guy. Leo lowered his voice. Maybe. But what if I'm not? The commander raised an eyebrow. You think you're some kind of chosen one now? I don't know what I am, Leo said. But I believe them. The call ended with no clear answer. But Leo knew one thing. He couldn't go back. Not yet. That evening, the stars outside flickered with movement. From the observation deck, Leo saw it first. Dark, silent ships emerging from behind a nearby moon. Small, triangular, with no lights and no sound. But they moved with purpose. Jura joined him, eyes focused. They're here. Leo turned. How did they find me so fast? They feel energy. The platform called out, and they heard. He backed away from the glass. So I really did start something, she nodded. But you can finish it. How? There is a beacon, she said, buried deep below the Therian mountains. It's old, older than even our stories. If you awaken it, you can block their path, cut off their link to this part of the galaxy. Leo looked at her with fear and awe. You want me to go there? She knelt beside him. Not alone. I will carry you. Preparations were made quickly. While the human crew prepared defense measures above, Leo and Jura left the outpost under the cover of night, moving quietly through tunnels that hadn't been walked in centuries. Leo rode in a special harness strapped to Jura's back. He felt like a small bag compared to her size. But she moved quickly and with incredible strength, crossing rocky terrain and wide gaps like they were nothing. The deeper they went, the warmer the air became. Strange lights glowed along the cave walls. Finally, they reached a circular chamber. In the center, a broken device stood half buried in dust and vines. It looked like a massive crystal engine cracked and asleep. This is it, Jura said. Touch the center. Leo stepped forward. He placed his hand on the dark glass. Nothing happened, then a flash. The chamber shook. Light filled the room. The crystal pulsed, and the symbols on the walls responded to his touch. A wave of energy rushed through the cave and shot upward, toward space. Jura turned, eyes wide. You did it. Leo staggered back. I felt something. It pulled something from me. She caught him as he nearly fell. It pulled your light. That's what it needed. Far above, in orbit, the Nothari ships paused. Then, one by one, their systems failed. The power they needed was cut off. Their engines went silent. One by one, they began to drift. Back on the surface, Leo opened his eyes slowly. His skin was cold, but his chest was warm. Jura held him tightly, whispering softly. You stayed, she said. You stayed. And now they're gone. Leo's eyes blinked open slowly, the soft blue light of the chamber soothing and strange at the same time. He felt the weight of the world easing from his shoulders, but the ache in his muscles reminded him he had just survived something extraordinary. Jura was there sitting beside him, her great hand gently resting on his shoulder. Despite her size, the touch was careful, tender, like a guardian watching over what she treasured most. You're awake, she said softly, relief coloring her voice. Leo smiled weakly. I think so. That pulse, it almost took me. Jura nodded. It draws on your energy, it is not easy. He pushed himself up, sitting on the cold stone floor. I never thought I would be part of something like this. Me, a simple human, caught between giants and ancient wars. She looked at him with eyes full of warmth and strength. You are more than simple. Leo's smile faded as the memory of the battle returned. The Nothari had come in numbers, silent and deadly. Their dark ships surrounded the station like a swarm of shadows. They had wanted to capture him because of the energy he carried, the spark of the legend within him. But Jura had fought fiercely. He recalled the moment she transformed from the gentle giant he met into a warrior unlike any he had ever seen. Her graceful movements became swift and powerful. Her hands, capable of crushing stone, wielded weapons made of ancient Therian metal. She defended him with everything she had, never letting the enemy come close. Leo swallowed hard. You're incredible. I don't know how you fought them off. Jura's voice was calm but fierce. I am a guardian. My duty is to protect. He looked into her eyes and saw the truth. She was not just a gentle alien girl. She was a warrior shaped by centuries of tradition and battle. But beneath her, armor and strength was a heart that had found something precious in him. The station was still on high alert. Leo knew the battle had only been a warning. The Nothari would not give up easily. We need to prepare, Jura said. They will come again. Leo nodded. We have to warn everyone. Together they returned to the outpost, moving through dark corridors and wide halls. The other Therian greeted Jura with respect, some bowing deeply, others offering quiet, words of encouragement. Leo noticed how her presence had changed the station. The giant alien girl who hugged him and refused to let go was now seen as a symbol of hope. In the main command hall, Leo stood before the leaders of the outpost, Therian, elders whose faces told stories of battles, loss, and wisdom. Leo, Jura began, this human carries the light of the old stories. He is the key to peace. One elder, tall and stern, stepped forward. The legends speak of a chosen one, but it has been centuries since we believed them. If this human truly awakens the ancient power, he may turn the tide. Leo felt the weight of their gaze. I don't know if I'm ready for this, he said honestly. Jura took his hand, her fingers huge compared to his, but the grip was steady and reassuring. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. The elders nodded in agreement. That night the outpost was quiet, but Leo's mind was restless. He and Jura sat together on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Why me? Leo asked again. Why am I the one? Jura was silent. For a moment, then she said, Because you are human. Leo laughed softly. That's not much of an answer. It is, she replied. Humans have a strength unlike any other. Your spirit is fierce and unyielding. You fight not just with weapons, but with hope and heart. He looked at her, surprised. You think so? She nodded. We have watched your kind from afar. You survived the impossible. You faced darkness and refused to give in. Leo smiled, feeling a new confidence growing inside him. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. The Nothari were attacking again. Chaos erupted. Leo and Jura ran toward the defense center. The station shook with the impact of distant blasts. Jura's eyes sharpened. They come for you. Leo's heart pounded. Together they prepared. Jura donned her ceremonial armor, an ancient suit of shining plates and intricate designs crafted to amplify her power. She looked like a mountain wrapped in steel. Leo strapped himself into a control chair, monitoring the station's weapons and shields. The Nothari ships burst through the outer defenses, sleek and deadly. They moved like shadows, firing beams of dark energy that tore through the station's shields. Jura stood at the front lines, blocking corridors and crushing invaders with giant fists. She moved with incredible speed and strength, each strike sending enemies flying. Leo watched, amazed and terrified. He saw the fire in her eyes, a fierce protector who would not let anyone harm what she loved. During a brief pause in the attack, Leo spoke into the comms. Jura, there's a way to stop this, the beacon. If we can activate it fully, it will send a pulse that can disable their ships. Jura nodded. Then I will hold them off. You must reach the beacon. Leo swallowed and prepared to move. Jura bent down and whispered, I will carry you. Get away. Tunnels to the beacon were narrow and dangerous, filled with debris from the attack. Jura lifted Leo effortlessly onto her back, moving through the corridors like a swift shadow. Enemy fighters tried to block their way, but Jura fought them off fiercely. At one point, she caught a Nothari warrior trying to sneak past, crushing the enemy's weapon with her bare hand. Leo held tight, feeling the raw power beneath him. When they reached the beacon chamber, the device was still partially offline. Leo stepped down and placed his hands on the control panel. His palms tingled with energy. With focus, he activated the core systems. The beacon hummed, then roared to life. Light poured from its crystal heart, sending a powerful wave into space. Outside, the Nothari ships faltered, their weapons powered down, their engines sputtered. One by one they drifted, disabled by the beacon's pulse. Back in the chamber, Leo collapsed from exhaustion. Jura caught him before he hit the ground. You did it, she said, voice filled with pride. Leo smiled weakly. We did it together. Days later, the outpost returned to peace. The Nothari threat had ended, at least for now. Leo woke to find Jura beside him, never leaving his side. The elders came to him, bowing and thanking him for fulfilling the ancient prophecy. But Leo had made a choice. He would stay with Jura. The giant alien girl who bent down to hug him and refused to let go had changed everything, and he was ready for what came next. The station had settled into an uneasy calm. After the fierce battle with the Nothari, the outpost's corridors felt alive again, but the memory of the attack still lingered in every shadow and whisper. Leo sat quietly on a bench near the observation deck, staring out at the vast stars that stretched beyond the glass. The stars were silent witnesses to everything: old wars, new hopes, and the fragile peace they had just won. Jura appeared beside him, her tall frame casting a long shadow. She didn't say anything at first, just sat down, folding her long legs carefully beneath her. Leo glanced at her. "Do you think it's really over?" he asked. Jura looked at him, eyes full of a strange softness. "For now," she said. "But peace is like a flame in the wind. It must be protected." Leo nodded. "I never thought I would find something like this here, on a remote outpost." With a giant alien girl, Jura smiled. A slow, gentle smile that made her look less like a mountain and more like a friend. "You changed everything," she said. Leo laughed softly. "I'm just a human." "No," she said firmly. "You are the light that came back." The days passed and Leo learned more about Jura's world. He discovered that the Therian were a proud, ancient race, bound by honor and tradition, yet their hearts could hold kindness and deep love. Jura took him to places no human had ever been before: ancient gardens blooming with alien flowers, halls filled with echoes of history, and skies where moons danced silently. Through it all, their bond grew stronger. They shared stories, hopes, and quiet moments of peace. One evening, as the outpost celebrated the end of the conflict, the elders held a ceremony to honor Leo. He stood before the crowd, humans and Therian alike, feeling small but proud. Jura stood beside him, towering and radiant. The eldest of the Therian spoke in his honor. "You, human, have fulfilled the promise of old. You have brought balance where there was chaos. You have shown courage where there was fear." Leo felt tears prick his eyes. After the ceremony, Jura took him aside. "Do you want to return home?" she asked. Leo looked around. The faces of friends, the stars above, and the gentle giant who had refused to let go of him when they first met. He shook his head. "No," he said. "I think this is where I belong now." That night, Leo stood on the observation deck again. Jura approached quietly. She bent down slowly, just as she had the first day they met. Her arms wrapped around him in a warm, steady hug. Leo closed, his eyes feeling the strength and calm in her embrace. This time, it wasn't a question or a warning. It was a promise that they would face whatever came next, together. Leo smiled and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Jura held him tighter, her voice soft. "Then I will never let go." In that moment, under the silent stars, a human and a 13-foot-tall alien girl found something rare. Not just friendship, not just hope, but a connection that would change the galaxy.